All right. Episode 2 of the BG Show. My name is Bryce Gelman. It's great to be back. Today, we are going to be talking about Jets versus Giants. This huge rivalry game that only comes around every 4 years, which feels like the most important game these two teams have played in a long time. The Jets are 3-3. The Giants are 2-5. And for both teams, this is an absolute must-win game. With the Jets at the area and the spot that they are, if they lose this game, there's a chance that their playoff hopes go up in smoke. And if the Giants advance to 2-6 or fall to 2-6, their season could be over as well. They're only a game behind the last wild card spot, but still, I mean, this could be a huge demoralizing loss for either team. And it expects to be a close matchup. Both teams, they have strong defenses. Both teams don't have great offenses. They were the only two teams through, I think, 5 weeks or 4 weeks that didn't have the ball on offense with a lead, which is pretty absurd. These two teams are very similar. The Jets have a better defense. The Giants, arguably, you could say, have a better offense. Jets have a better offensive line. Giants have a better quarterback. So this game is important not only for standings reasons, but for just New York sports fan reasons as well. We're going to get into that a little bit later with our special guest, Shaun Morash, from the Evan and Tiki Show on WFAN and the One Giant Step podcast, which I frequent mostly every week these days. You can't find anyone else. There is a lot of animosity towards the Giant fan from Jets fans, I think, all time. And as someone who roots for both teams, I know I get a lot of hate from it from my friends. I'm just a New York sports fan. There is a lot there from Jets to Giants. I don't see any Jets fans rooting for the Giants, but there's some Giants fans who feel bad, like myself. The Jets have been in such a terrible spot for the last 50 plus years, so you can't help but feel bad for them. And especially a guy like Zach Wilson, who was thrown into the fire his rookie year, had to start immediately. His second year didn't look any better, was outplayed by Mike White and benched at the start of the year. This guy is someone who you can root for. I know it's crazy to say, you could root for the guy. You see him, you see a situation, you have to feel bad for him, and you have to feel bad for every Jets fan who has to deal with it as well. So the Jets have won these last 2 matchups in this once every 4-year game that the Giants and the Jets play in the regular season. And the Jets are favored in this game. They probably have the better team. They have the better defense. They don't have the better offense. And this will be a matchup which is determined by whoever plays the steadiest game. It's not crazy to say, with two teams who could barely put up any points, that you got to hold the team to less points to win. What a crazy concept that is, but especially in this game, where you're not going to come out, you're not going to win this game 30-10, you're not going to win this game 27-7. This will be a close game. This will be a close game because both offenses don't have much firepower. And there isn't a reasonable chance that either one of these teams gets out to a huge lead and then holds the lead. It's going to be a brutal, hard-fought game. All right. With that being said, let's finally bring in our special guest, Shaun Morash of the Evan and Tiki Show. Shaun, what's going on? Thank you for joining me.
What's up, Bryce? Happy Giant Jet Week.
Yes, sir. We just finished recording One Giant Step, Shaun's podcast for Odyssey. Thank you again for having me. I have no idea why you keep inviting me back, but really appreciate that.
Bryce, look, when 100 people say no, you got to come back to Bryce Gelman. That's usually my theory.
That's usually how it's been in my life. You know, the second, third option. So I appreciate you taking the initiative.
Of course.
So we have to address the elephant in the room, and that has been this firestorm of controversy that you have just created out of thin air with the Zach Wilson story. Okay, let me give the backstory here. Okay. So what was this? What was this, Wednesday on the Fan?
That sounds right now. Yes.
Yeah. So on Wednesday, Shaun had this take basically. So Zach Wilson went to Utah to hang out with his family and his girlfriend during the Jets bye week. That's usually what players do. They go away. We know what happened with Xavier McKinney last year. He went to wherever he went, Cabo, and broke his broke his hand. What did he break his wrist on the ATV? Whatever happened? I don't know.
His fingers.
His finger. He
fingers.
broke on the
Bryce,
ATV. You got to listen. You had a point with that. You had a point with that. That was the first thing I thought of. But this was a different story because brought the fist down on this guy. Brought the hammer down on him for going to hang out with his girlfriend. He's getting a little play with his girlfriend in Utah with his family, the Mormons, and and you got an insane amount of hate. And even the guys on the fan, even Evan, even Tiki were like, Shaun, what the heck are you talking about?
Tiki pivoted on Thursday when I got to explain my point further. He agreed I had a good point. So let's scale back here and understand why I had this become a story. The Daily Mail put out kind of a bunch of screen grabs from Zach Wilson's mom over a 5-day period. And then the Instagram pictures with Zach and his girlfriend, who, by the way, the girlfriend isn't stuck in Utah. She's in New Jersey with Zach. So it's not like you need to fly to see her.
Yeah.
The mom could easily be in New Jersey. And one thing really stuck out. They went to some kind of fair. They kept doing all these fall festivities. Like, how much fall do you need? How much fall fun do you need? And I guess there was a football throwing game. And she took a picture. Zach was like, as if he doesn't get enough football was kind of the thing. No. This is the problem. Zach Wilson's mom is a problem. I'm sorry. She is a problem. She brought the attention on this. So the whole story was written. And that's where I came in, talked to Evan and Tiki. We were going over stories today. I got to be honest with you. This ain't sitting well. And I believe this to be true. Before you hate my point, Bryce, I'm going to rattle off a quick couple for you. Zach Wilson, has he not been under fire for basically being a first-round bust in his career?
He has.
Okay, does he have a second chance at showing the league, forget the Jets, that he could play in this league with Aaron Rodgers out on a defensive-heavy team where he has a chance to win and make the playoffs? Is that true?
It is.
Okay. Now, do you think, even if the facility literally was padlocked, and let's calm down on what the CBA rules are with all of that, do you think being around as some of your teammates start to trickle in, hey, you want to go throw, or let me just really just chill out on the couch, not have distractions at him at Halloween, do you think that's a lot to ask for a guy whose career might be riding on these next 8 weeks?
No, but I mean, let him have his fun. I mean,
but see, that's the problem. That is the problem. He has had a lot of fun.
Let's see how he plays. Let's see how he plays on Sunday, and then you could be completely vindicated. He could go out and throw 3 picks, and you could go for hours on the fan about why you're right about this.
And that's it, Bryce. I didn't say just this game. I said games. The bye set up this stretch run of games. And I'm not saying don't get away at all.
Winnable games, though. They have winnable games coming up. He may have gotten a little complacent. He may have gotten a little complacent there, but they're all winnable games.
Forget winnable. They should win these games coming up. With their defense, he can't be making critical mistakes. And if he does that, his career is saved. He has months off during the offseason to go back and forth to Utah, all he wants to do. He's not exactly up the block where if Alan Lazard calls and says you were around to throw, you can get these 2 time zones away. And we all know in-laws and your family and everything. They're the biggest distraction walking. Do this. And look at his mom posting social media. She created the distraction. Zach Wilson needed to limit distractions this week. He needed to get his mind right. We had the quote from Joe Burrow on Wednesday. Hey, he's on the couch. He watched football. He worked out. He lifted. That's a leader. That's cool. I understand he's from Ohio, but he didn't need to go to Cancun. And in 2007, when freaking Tony Romo and Jessica Simpson did that the bye week, and then Tony Romo lost to the Giants, people killed Tony Romo for it. I'm sorry to say this. The quarterback position is different than any other in sports. And especially when you have failed already and you have a second chance on life, just show a little leadership. You don't need to be gallivanting, picking apples 2 time zones away.
It's fair. It's a fair point. It would have been even more fair if anyone else said it besides you, because you are you're the most hated person by Jets fans out there right now. And
but you know what, Bryce, you know how I know this? Bryce, you know I know this it? In these thousands of mentions where people were fighting with me, every 6 or 7 or so, I'd get a Jet fan that would say, I hate Morash, but you know what? He's right. So I think even Jet fans knew to a certain extent, some at their hearts. But then the ones that fought with me don't want to hear anything I have to say on the Jets.
Your take was so good, so fire, that it set off a fire alarm.
Is that what's going on in my house? Oh, jeez.
So, you had mentioned something on social media about where Daniel Jones was last year. He was at a Halloween party in New Jersey or New York City or wherever it was, And I guess that helps your argument because Daniel Jones didn't leave. But then again, was it? I'm trying to remember last year the bye. So was the bye that important? You know, coming after the bye as important as Zach Wilson's bye right now and before that. Also, Daniel Jones' job wasn't on the line per se.
That's the thing. That's the
at
thing.
that point he'd already proven, okay, like this guy has.
They were 6-1 or 6-2 whenever the bye came. Not that it's not important, but also he was around. Like if Zach Wilson was here and a picture emerged of him at a Halloween party, like it was with Saquon, with Breece Hall, and it was in New York City, I'd be like, all right, that's cool. He's around. Like guys go out during the season, forget the bye week all the time. But it's about being around. It's just about, hey, you near, camaraderie, whatever. 5-6 days, 2 time zones away. It's just he went overboard. It's too much. And also, if you're going to do that, don't let us know that that's what you did. Like the social media.
It wasn't him. It wasn't him.
That's a club. And which brings me back to the next point. Then is his family not a distraction? I'm hearing that he's going away to get away from distractions. They're a distraction.
It's been, I think, his Achilles heel off the field since he got drafted. How he hasn't sat his mother down and been like, stop posting, it beyond me. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. And like, how you could be making millions of dollars and let your mom dictate whether or not people are going to criticize you. Like, stop posting. I don't need this negative attention because you can't keep your fingers off of social media. You can't keep posting. Like, stop. I get where you're coming from. Absolutely. I totally get it. But I mean,
look,
half the battle is the fact that you're hated by Jets fans and they will criticize anything you say. So you created this storm and they're obviously gonna get at you for it.
Well, I'll just say this, Bryce. I am a man. I said it. If Zach Wilson just drops dimes on the Giants and throws 3 touchdown passes and doesn't turn the ball over, I got to come on the air Monday and go, hey, thought this was a distraction. He showed me up. Maybe it was the best thing for him. But if he crumbles, he's going to have to answer to it, and he put himself in that situation. I'm a man, damn it, and I'll answer for it.
All right, well, speaking of Zach Wilson potentially throwing dimes on Sunday, let's get into predictions for the game. So on One Giant Step, I actually had the Jets winning. You had the Giants winning.
Yeah.
Give me your one biggest key for a Giants win on Sunday.
It's turnovers. I hate going so simplistic like that, but in this kind of game, I think it really rings true. Zach Wilson turns the ball over, and the Giants don't. These possessions are going to be so critical, especially where the turnovers happen, right? Like if the Giants get a turnover and they're back in Jet territory, like I think a game with this slim a margin, I think that's what it really will come down to.
So do you think in a game where the Giants don't force any turnovers, do you think they have any chance?
Probably not. Probably not. Probably not.
It's a lot to ask.
It is.
It is. I know it's against Zach Wilson, but it is a lot to ask.
It is. But look, the Jets won by getting turnovers. So maybe I shouldn't say they have no chance, but they also can't lose the turnover battle. Like literally one interception by Tyrod Taylor, if they don't get any, I think could be the difference in the entire game.
You're right. I mean, you're right. There's one. I wouldn't say one chance that the Giants win this game, but that has to be the biggest factor in this. It is because the Jets have forced multiple turnovers in their last, 3-4 games. Like that's what they do. Their defense has 3 or 4 playmakers, game changers that are going to get to the quarterback. They shut down your best receiver. They stop the run. This is what the Jets do. So I'd have to agree. The Giants need to force turnovers against Zach Wilson. So I guess I'll stick with the prediction I had in One Giant Step. I had Jets winning 13-10. You had what? You had the Giants winning 20-6. That's
20-6.
That is One Giant Step right there. Like that's one giant leap right there.
And it'll be one giant me stuck in a porta potty in the parking lot if they lose, Bryce.
You are screwed.
Yes.
You are screwed. There's a part of me, there's a slight part of me, and my friends think I'm like a closeted Jets fan because I have to watch both teams. I want to watch both teams because I'm a New York sports fan. And when they're playing other teams, I do root for them because after the last 50 plus years, the last 22 years I've been on this earth, I know we we have a different mindset about this. We have a different mindset about this. I feel terrible for these fans, and there's a slight, I don't know, there's a slight part of what Zach brings to the table that is you could root for. You know how pathetically awful he's been.
When I was at Jet Camp, they're nice people. They really are nice people, and I got nice people in my family that are Jet fans. But in the end,
they are, and they're sad.
This week, I don't care how sad they are.
Of course. All right, Shaun. Thank you again for coming on. Really appreciate it. Obviously, check out One Giant Step on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. I'm on sometimes, I guess every Friday now, but really appreciate it, Shaun. Let's go Giants.
Let's go, Bryce. See you later.